My name is H.A. Goodman, and I'm an author, columnist, and journalist. In about what? Right when you see this, I will be on the Hard Bastard Network with Styx and Hammer. I'll put the link below. So as you're watching this, or when you're done with this, just click on that link in the pinned comment, and it's going to be fantastic. We're going to have a great discussion about a whole lot of things, and it's going to be awesome. I love both of them. They're both really powerful, independent thinkers. Mueller is writing a report. It's not a book report, although I'd rather read a book report from Mueller than this stupid, ridiculous, nonsensical report on Trump's conduct. So, if you type in Mueller report, Washington Post, first you get CNN. Mueller told Trump's lawyers the president isn't a criminal target. So thankfully CNN didn't butcher and mangle the actual meat and potatoes of the story, which is that he's not under criminal investigation. He did not commit any crimes. GCHQ, the CIA, FBI, NSA, 3 American intelligence agencies, a British intelligence agency, have all spied on Trump since 2015. The guy is obviously very squeaky clean. They couldn't find anything. James Clapper with Chuck Todd in 2017 in March stated that, to his knowledge, there's no evidence, and he didn't include any evidence in the ODNI report, which is the foundation of all of this. The DHS and ODNI intelligence reports are assessments, judgments without any conclusive evidence. And James Clapper stated there's no evidence of Trump-Russia collusion. None that he knows, and he would have known since he was the top spy, and they were spying on him. If you spied one day on Clinton, if one of the intelligence agencies actually spied one day on Clinton, which I'm sure they did, and I'm sure there's a litany of evidence that we haven't seen, the indictments for Clinton will take place, whereas the impeachment for Trump will not take place. I stated that Clinton would lose to Trump in 2015. I didn't need alleged Russian hackers or anything else. I wrote in the Hill, the Huffington Post Salon, I was on MSNBC, CNN, and on this YouTube channel, stating the same thing, that Clinton would lose. But this is a really, really interesting. I'll read you this, and then I'll get to something just unbelievable. So, Mueller is planning a report on Trump. Here's what happens next. What kind of report? So, he already stated that Trump is not the target of a criminal investigation because he hasn't committed any crimes and he hasn't been accused of a crime. But I'll read you the morning Plum. No offense at all to the author, no offense at all. This is just the way I read. This is just the way I read articles on this YouTube channel. The author is a brilliant journalist. The Morning Plum. The big news in this Post story is not that President Trump isn't a target of Special Counsel Robert Mueller III's investigation. Yes, actually, that is the big news, but he's not a target. Which, the whole thing is that he colluded with Russia. That's the whole entire dumb narrative. That he colluded with Russia, that he worked with Russia to steal the election in some way, which, by the way, law professor and legal scholar, constitutional scholar Alan Dershowitz has stated just yesterday on Sean Hannity that there is actually no statute. There's actually no legal statute that talks about collusion. If there was, you would indict Clinton on that, yet another crime. Because she actually paid Perkins Coie, her law firm, money was funneled from the DNC and Clinton through her law firm to Orbis and to Fusion GPS, or to Fusion GPS for sure, for the Steele dossier, millions and millions of dollars. The Steele dossier was compiled with help from Russian sources. So the Morning Plum, the big news in this Post story is not that President Trump isn't a target of special counsel. Yeah, it is. Rather, it's that Mueller is planning a report on Trump's conduct. Is Trump like a third grader now? I know they don't like him. I know they lost to him, even though I was warning Democrats since 2015. But is he like some kind of third grader? Are they going to rap him on the hands with a ruler? Particularly as it relates to actions on his part that could constitute obstruction of justice. What actions? There is no obstruction of justice, number one. There's no crime. Number two, there's no predicate crime. There's no crime that precedes this investigation. There's no evidence of a crime. Every legal, everything you need in a criminal investigation, a crime, a suspect, evidence, there's nothing. There's nothing. And Elizabeth Voss, brilliant journalist of Disobedient Media, has a phenomenal article actually completely destroying and debunking the whole George Papadopoulos, Professor Mifsud nonsense. Apparently, the professor that he spoke to that allegedly told him all that he has so much dirt on Hillary Clinton, apparently he's connected to, what? Guess who? British intelligence. Why GCHQ was spying on Trump since 2015, that's a Guardian article. And why MI6 Christopher Steele is involved. This is an obvious setup. The American intelligence community is supposed to be this revered institution or this revered community of people, yet they rely on the British intelligence agencies. Why is it that the British intelligence agencies don't rely on the CIA for anything? They're probably a lot smarter than us, but they're probably less corrupt. Not saying they're not corrupt. I'm saying they're less corrupt, which is like saying you're just a little bit more ethical than Charles Manson. So, but why are the British involved? Why is all this hearsay involved? There's gossip and hearsay regarding everything. The Steele dossier, the BuzzFeed is suing the DNC because they don't have any evidence to corroborate or to back up the Steele dossier. There's this complete and utter lack of logic that says, well, just wait. But that same logic, that suspicion, see, this investigation is fueled not by evidence and not by the existence of a crime, but by suspicion. They have now legitimized suspicion. The Democratic Party has legitimized suspicion as the basis for an investigation, which is interesting because the most dishonest person in American politics is not Trump, it's Clinton. Trump, you could say Trump lies about things. Crowd size is different. Crowd size at the inauguration is different than I used the server for convenience, or I survived Bosnian sniper fire, or I don't know what the C means. I didn't know it meant confidential. I thought it meant casserole. I thought it meant catnip. And guess who? And so, anyway, let's just continue. Peter Strzok interviewed her, and Peter Strzok interviewed General Flynn. Notice the different outcomes. She lied to the FBI, but the FBI was never going to charge her, ever. I didn't know the extent of the cover-up. That's why I was saying, the evidence is going to point to an indictment. Even people who defend Clinton say the evidence would point to an indictment. Then James Comey stated that she didn't intentionally do it, which of course she intentionally did. So even when people say to me, like, oh, HA, she'll never get indicted. Okay, fine. But you know what? Even that mentality admits that she committed crimes and there's evidence of crimes. Whereas with Trump, there's no evidence of anything. Will Mueller's findings ever get released in some form? Most likely, yes. But there are some very unpleasant scenarios that could intervene, including the very real possibility that congressional Republicans will do all they can to keep Mueller's report under wraps. This is something they can try to do, it turns out. Congressional Republicans right now are focused on trying to get a special counsel, and they're watching John Huber, who in many ways is a walking special counsel. He can go ahead and be an independent special counsel if he just travels to D.C., he can then impanel a grand jury, get FBI agents, prosecutors from D.C., but he has a direct line to Sessions. This is what Judge Andrew Napolitano was talking about. But their focus should be on ending the Mueller probe. This investigation, Mueller's investigation, and now this dumb report, and even yesterday when they said, well, he's not a target of a criminal probe, but he's the subject because of things he's done. They are lying It's complete. This is a profanity alert for my 10-minute crowd. It's complete and utter. Do not listen if you don't want to hear profanity. It is complete and utter bullshit. It is complete and utter bullshit. They don't want. They have turned in this investigation into nothing, with no evidence of a crime, with only intelligence reports that are confident something happened, but not certain. And a Steele dossier that's been completely discredited to the point where the publisher that published it, BuzzFeed, is now suing to save its you-know-what, to save its behind from defamation lawsuits. Suing the DNC, and the DNC is refusing to cooperate with BuzzFeed. Why? Because they are lying also. They're saying, well, we can't give you any information on the DNC hack because, well, it'll help the Russians. Everything is completely nonsensical, and everything is an obvious ploy. But they have made this Mueller investigation into a mythic creation of their own, fostered from their own insanity. These are the same people who were certain, based on data. See, I come from the left, maybe the extreme left. I'm so far extreme that I now understand that conservatives are right about a lot of things, especially about the left's mentality. Democrats, liberals, quote-unquote liberals in general, people on the left in general, love to point to data and analysis that, when manipulated, fosters their insane fantasies. So what they've done with this investigation is they've said, well, look at the CIA, the NSA, and the FBI. They're highly to moderately confident. Okay. They're not certain about anything, but that's... confidence in something has never resulted in a conviction. You have to have evidence. And you also have to have a crime that's said to have been committed. And you have to have people who have committed or suspects who are linked to a crime because of evidence. The evidence then points to their guilt relating to the specific crime. Or, in the case of Watergate, Nixon might not have broken into Watergate, the Watergate building, but he covered it up. So there was a crime and a cover-up. Unlike this situation where the Democratic Party has stated, just like the data-driven analysis from 538 that said Trump had a 2% chance of becoming GOP nominee. GOP nominee. They didn't think that Trump would be GOP nominee. Whereas I thought, not only did I think he would be nominee, I said he would defeat Clinton. The New York Times came out 3 days prior to the election. Clinton has a solid electoral college lead. So these, what they do is they convince themselves, based on information that they manipulate, to simply foster their biases or to bolster their irrational view of things. There should never have been an investigation into alleged Trump-Russia collusion because nobody has any evidence of it. So James Clapper doesn't have any evidence. And furthermore, there is actually no statute that talks about... Let's see if I can go ahead and get this. Okay, so Alan Dershowitz was on Hannity yesterday. And he was talking about the fact that there's actually no statute. So even if they find out that he committed, which they're not going to because he didn't have to, but there's actually no statute that exists. I can't find that, but let's just go to James Clapper. I'm just going to always play this link. So
does intelligence exist that can definitively answer the following question: whether there were improper contacts between the Trump campaign and Russian officials?
We did not include any evidence in our report, and I say our, that's NSA, FBI, and CIA with my office, the Director of National Intelligence, that had any reflection of collusion between members of the Trump campaign and the Russians. There was no evidence of that included in our report.
I understand that, but does it exist?
Not to my knowledge.
If any evidence existed, James Clapper would have known. Not only did he spy on Trump, but the British spied on Trump also. There's no effing evidence. What drives me insane, and I know what drives a lot of people insane, is that there's a mountain of evidence regarding Clinton's crimes. Yes, Hillary Clinton. When people say, why are you bringing her up? This isn't Michael Dukakis. This isn't John Kerry. This isn't just, some failed Democrat that, ran for the election and didn't. I like Dukakis, actually, but this isn't a Democrat who failed to win. This is a person who still has the Clinton Foundation, and they're still trying to help people in need from natural disasters. It's insane. The criminal enterprise is still working to launder money. And it's still a government within a government. So whether it's the IRS, whether it's the FBI, whether it's the DOJ, because there's a DOJ email probe, there's an FBI Clinton Foundation probe, there's a probe in Dallas and IRS. There's a whole bunch of things with the Clinton Foundation, Clinton emails that are still ongoing. John Huber can recommend the indictments of anyone involved, including Clinton, if he sees enough evidence, or if that's not completely accurate, let's say from the perspective of protocol, he can then investigate again whatever it is he wants to investigate. If they want to investigate a certain aspect, whether it's why Clinton kept her servers or BleachBit or used BleachBit, he can specifically investigate that. Or if he has enough evidence, he can then tell Sessions, hey, you know what, indict Clinton. Or the evidence points to the indictment of Clinton, and then Sessions can go ahead and then indict Clinton. Because Rosenstein would then be bypassed, and first of all, he's the number two. He's not as powerful as Sessions. And John Huber is the person that is investigating this, not Rosenstein. So there might be a method to Sessions. There might be a method to the madness in terms of Sessions and what's taking place. John Huber might be the way to go. Maybe a special counsel is slower, where although it would be more ominous, maybe it is true that the best course of action is John Huber. But the point is his conduct. You just heard, under the regulation that governs appointment of special counsel, Mueller is supposed to provide confidential reporting to report explaining his conclusions to the Attorney General. Or in this case, Deputy Attorney General Rod J. Rosenstein, since Jeff Sessions has recused himself. Rosenstein is then supposed to provide the chairman and ranking members of the House and Senate Judiciary Committees with an explanation for any decision to conclude the investigation. The explanation can be released if he decides it would be in the public interest. Mueller, it presided over uranium being shipped out of the country. Mueller is a part that you don't want to talk about conflicts of interest. Mueller should never have been appointed. He should never, ever, ever have been appointed to this because he's a part of the madness and he's a part of the problem. So now they're going after Trump's conduct. It's not enough. They have gone from evidence, which is transferring top secret intelligence from SIPRNet, JWIC, SCIFs. Clinton had to have set up her email account, her private email servers, plural, to transfer not only top secret intelligence, to transfer the top secret intelligence from secure locations within the U.S. government, but that also helped her. Transferring the top secret intelligence and merging her private emails made it very, very difficult for everybody because nobody had ever imagined somebody would do that. And nobody was going to tell Clinton she couldn't. So then people were like, well, there's a precedent. There's no precedent here. Yeah, because nobody thought that somebody would be so paranoid and so secretive that they would blatantly, overtly, brazenly break Espionage Act laws, rip them apart. And so the 33,000 deleted emails are all smoking gun emails, obviously, and they all pertain to the Clinton Foundation. But her top secret emails, but her deleted emails, The Alwan Brothers and W. Wasserman Schultz, and Debunking the Trump-Russia Myth are books that I have written below. They're still doing well on Amazon. Very well. And book 5 is on its way. But give me your thoughts below. In a couple, just right now, click the link. You will see a great discussion with me, Hard Bastard, and Styx, X, and Hammer. So definitely check that out. That is below. They're now going to report on his conduct. Not evidence, not criminal wrongdoing. His conduct, which would then be misconstrued by everyone as obstruction of justice pertaining to an investigation without a crime. How on earth can you obstruct justice when nobody is accused of a specific crime pertaining to the actual raison d'etre of the probe? Give me your thoughts below. Share this segment everywhere. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thank you so much for listening. Hit subscribe. Tell everybody you know about H.A. Goodman on YouTube. And tell them to subscribe to this channel if you think they would enjoy my unique view on politics. Thank you so much. Watch the discussion with me, Styx, and Hard Bastard. That link is below in the pinned comment. Thank you so much.